All right, gentlemen, episode 38. The band's back together in-house. Statman's even back.
Feels good to be here.
It's about damn time.
Was the syphilis gone or no?
Yeah, what'd you take?
A little bit of everything.
Was it a little cream?
Yeah, some pills.
As
some
Colton
cream.
would say, the cream in a clear.
Insert in both ends, all the pills.
Oh, man. That's gross. All right, I was looking for a good joke, but I didn't want to start there and get that deep. No pun intended. All right, this is your reminder around 3starrecruits.com for all your blogs, sports betting blogs, which sports betting's been on a lull lately. Tough slate last week. Holy shit. Dude,
Not good.
Seahawks scored 16 points. I want to talk about it. We're on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. We also have another podcast, DFS Units, on Apple and Spotify as well. That is it's more of a daily when there's stuff going on. There's not a lot going on right now. And I didn't feel like betting MAC football, so not this week.
Yeah, you gotta get in on that action.
Yeah, not this week.
I think this is the last week of weekday games for them. I think after next week they're back to Saturdays.
Yeah, I'll get into something different. All right, so before we get started, last week we talked about our favorite Masters moments, right? And I got a text from an extremely loyal listener. He sent me a text and said, "You fucking toddlers, how could you not mention the Greg Norman collapse? That broke my heart."
Oh.
And I told him,
Yeah, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I told him I'd bring it up. I don't really remember it, but I remember.
I couldn't even tell you what year it was.
Stat boy, Greg Norman collapse.
Do you guys want to put a guess out? Wasn't that the late 80s or was that early 90s?
I'm going to say it was like mid 93, 92.
I was gonna say like 91.
Wasn't even born yet, so if that makes you feel any better.
No. I'm going to say it's like 92.
96.
Okay, so we're way off.
I was still under 10, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna remember that.
Blown a 6-shot lead.
yeah. So, Weeder, we got to talk about that. How the hell do you remember it? It's like our age.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you would remember it.
I mean, I've seen clips on the Golf Channel during Masters Week when
Right.
they show it all, but like,
Right. Maybe he was
doesn't
walking
stand
around
out
in a
in my
Greg Norman
mind.
straw hat at 6 years old. I don't know.
there's not really anything Greg Norman has done that really stands out, other than like making the clothes that I'm currently wearing, I guess.
Greg Norman hasn't done anything except make the shirt I'm currently wearing.
We made a bunch of nude photos.
Didn't he like almost chop his leg off with a chainsaw
Arm.
or some shit like that?
Almost cut his hand off with a chainsaw. He's got a winery. He's got a yacht. Yacht's got a helicopter. Just saying.
He hasn't done anything though, so it's okay.
If I was in his position, I wouldn't even think of using a chainsaw.
Right. If somebody else do it. And I would probably pull up a chair and watch him do it. All right, so let's move on to the Masters. We had a little bet last week, and I believe Statman over there won it.
I would imagine. I didn't.
You guys
but
just
I
gotta
assume-
bet DJ. That's my only method here.
2.6 million. I mean, if it ended on Friday, I won. But it didn't, so here we are.
You can't win a golf tournament the first 3 days.
So here's your
You can lose it.
cashish. We'll figure it out
Oh,
after.
yeah.
All's
Why
I
is
have.
it- How does he have it all at once already?
What?
He doesn't.
I don't. It's all I had on me.
You only carry big bills. Sorry.
Yeah, I have bigger upstairs if you need them. So congrats on your winnings. It's $30. Don't spend it all at once. No, it's $60. Don't spend it all at once. On whatever her name is.
He's just grinning right now.
He just bought like 4 rounds of beers at the bar already.
And 3 cactuses.
Yeah,
You kidding me? They're charging like $8 for a can of beer on Market Street.
I'll pass.
Times are tough, man.
All right,
He loves not being on camera.
I know. He does. It's not probably a pretty good gig, isn't it?
All eyes are on me all the time.
So yeah, Masters is over. DJ wins in record fashion, -20. Not only was the first person to reach -20, he was the first person to finish in -20. So what do you guys thought? What do you guys think of the Masters?
It was boring Saturday afternoon on. Well, I guess they had a little interesting Sunday morning. First 5 holes, 6 holes. Obviously DJ was unstoppable. He's like a robot off the tee.
Just cruise control, it seems.
I mean, how many times have you heard you can't hit a fade around Augusta? And 2 of the top 3 hit fades all week.
I don't think Rory was trying to hit a fade.
No, I meant him.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he had Rory had the blocks going pretty good, but yeah, that's always been a thing. They say it's you got to hit a draw to win at that place. I don't know. He proved him wrong for sure. I mean,
yeah, when you're a 5-yard fade's not going to hurt you anymore.
No,
So,
no, it's not. But it was fun. Like you said, Thursday, Friday, there was just nonstop golf because of the weather. So I was up with a toddler, and Ron texted me one point. He's like, "Hey, you watching any of the golf?" Like, I've been up waiting for coverage to start at 7:30. Ron, yes, I'm watching golf.
My big takeaway was less with the play and more with just the aesthetics of the whole thing. Like every year you watch it and they cover the landscape with people, but then when there's no patrons to watch, you really see what the golf course actually looks like, and you realize a lot of those tee boxes, they don't have big complexes or anything. They're just shorter grass amongst this big open area.
Very classic course. They got logs for tee boxes.
It looks great, but it's really weird. I almost didn't recognize 12. I didn't realize that tee box is just sort of out there.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's like
because they
you in a
frame
direction.
that with people behind it. Yeah.
It's one of those courses that if somehow you got onto it and there was no starter or anybody, I could imagine getting lost, like going from hole to hole. Like, where the hell's the next hole?
I think 16 looked the most unrecognizable to me. I think you said the same thing.
Yeah, the first time I saw 16 this week from behind the tee box with no fans, no stands, no patrons, no stands. It took me a minute to realize what hole I was even looking at. So it looks very different.
Did you guys notice on Sunday, because we did, pin location on 16?
That was in the way back, wasn't it? Instead of tucked
back
down.
right. I think someone got the wrong pin sheet.
So
how do you not know?
So I read something that was like the third time in the last 40 years that it was there on Sunday.
Right. Yeah, I didn't look into it at all.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's almost always the back left where Tiger had his famous chip, and JT had the hole-in-one last year.
I thought it was set in stone, the Masters each day. I thought they
So did
always
I.
put it
Yeah.
in the
I did
same.
too.
So do you think, I don't know if this is true or not, but do you think it's because there was no patrons there? So when they have it in that lower bowl, there's a lot more excitement and noise. So they didn't really have the noise. So would it have, right? Because they always say that sound reverberates through the whole area down there. So without patrons, does it really matter if you put it down there, because you're not going to hear those sounds?
Yeah, and because I think the Saturday pin was on the lower tier on that side, but
Yeah, it was
closer to the front,
near the middle-ish.
as opposed to kind of more towards the back. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it really made a difference in the tournament, to be honest, but
If it was a tighter tournament, it might have made a difference. I mean, it's one of the last 3 holes, and when they tuck it like that, it forces you to make a decision. When it's in the back, you just splash it to the middle. You got an uphill putt on that green.
yeah. Yeah, it definitely played longer, I could tell. I think it was number 5 on Sunday, played unbelievably long. I was watching Tiger's group and Scheffler and those guys.
Yeah.
And I think you said you saw
That
Anser.
was Sunday, Abraham Anser, he had 240 and he hit a 5-wood or something into a par 4, which is unheard of on the tour these days. The
And he had 50 feet.
Yeah.
So it definitely played longer.
First 2 days, it was clearly softer. The guys were able to attack the greens. I don't think it's any coincidence, the weather, the way it was in the fall, and that the scores were lower than we've ever seen there. I think that correlates as we would expect. Doesn't take anything away from it, in my opinion. But
I think the closest we got to see Augusta showing its teeth was Saturday.
Yeah.
And we didn't on Sunday because they went out so early. It was still soft.
yes,
Still, moisture in the air, moisture in the ground.
A lot of those second shots into 15, I think a lot more balls were holding the green. You would have saw a lot more balls over the back edge.
Even on 2, Thursday, Friday, in that left pin.
Yeah.
I mean, guys are just throwing it back there. There's 6 feet of green there, and it was holding. Normally, that doesn't hold.
Yeah. And I think we noticed a lot, even on 18, all weekend, players missing left. Usually that, if they have to move the patrons, it's stomped down and everything. But that grass was perfect over there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you missed left, it didn't hurt you or anything.
Now, there was 26 first-timers this past week. And assuming all of them come back next year, or they make it into next year, do you think there's Do you think that what they saw last week is going to hurt them next year?
Yes. I think a few of them, he's not a great example because Matt Wolf didn't make the cut, but they were talking about him, how he missed the cut, and he'll definitely be back next year.
Right.
Kind of conversations. Do you show up this year, the allure of Augusta, thinking it's one of the harder golf courses you're going to see, and then you go and this really isn't that hard, and then do you come into it next spring thinking, this place isn't as hard as they say it is, and then get kicked in the teeth by the real Augusta in the spring?
I think it definitely helped them not having patrons there, right? No fans to hear the cheers. There were 6 first-timers in the top 25, which is probably very unheard of there.
The lowest scoring average for Thursday, Friday, lowest cut they've ever seen.
It was the lowest scoring overall, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably. I would
Yes.
have to be.
20 ties the lowest ever in a major.
Yeah. What was the other one, stat boy? Do you know?
That I'm not sure if I can tell you in about 5 seconds.
All right. I enjoyed it. It's the Masters. It's always going to be different. I did see something today where an article like, I don't know what their avenue of attack was, or they were trying to make a point, but they said that ratings were at an all-time low. And I can see that because we're in November. During golf season when that Masters is on, I can name a lot of people that know that the Masters is on because it's usually around Easter, it's that time of year, and they watch it just to watch it.
Henrik Stenson at the Open. Do you remember him and Phil coming down the
Phil.
stretch?
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
amazing watching them match back and forth.
That was great. I think I enjoyed it because there was so much golf Thursday, Friday. I did fall asleep a little bit in the afternoon on the couch on Saturday. Sunday was still, it was all right. You were here. It was just kind of like we knew we were watching the Masters and it was a major. And you knew someone was going to walk out of their green jacket. It's pretty clear it was going to be DJ at that point. But that Sunday was the day it felt different for me because there was no patrons. It just felt really, really different. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah, I think they were thinking, ratings would go up because they moved so many football games Sunday. So I think there was only 3 or 4 games at 1:00. But how many people love football and would rather watch football over the Masters? Now, I didn't watch football until Bills came out at 4, but I would much rather watch golf. But I'm guessing a majority of this country would much rather watch football on Sunday, no matter who.
This time of year.
I flipped over and I was like, it's the Eagles-Giants. Like, I don't really care.
We watched some of that shit show.
I saw a lot of activity when they had game day there at the Masters. Right. And people were all screenshotting it and like tweeting and what the hell's going on? Why are they at Augusta? Like,
yeah, they were set up in the par 3 course somewhere.
I think it's a lot of younger people that aren't quite ready for golf yet,
Right.
But still, it's odd to see them not happy.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to a couple people on the phone, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching the Masters. Oh, did they reschedule that? And those are some of the same people that in April, they would know the Masters is on, even though they probably have never played golf in their life, and they still watch it because it's the Masters.
Right.
But it's odd because golf has had really high ratings. So for people to not be that aware of it is kind of
because
off the wall.
I think this is the time of year. It's November. You got college football. You got regular football, especially Saturday. I mean, you go like south of PA or in this state, and college football turns into basically a religion. So you got a lot of people down in the south that, who knows? They probably would have an all-time low attendance at Augusta on Saturday.
Yeah.
If people were, if college football was going on, they did have patrons.
Well, I don't think Georgia played Saturday.
They didn't.
Because of that. The SEC kind of postponed a couple were because of COVID, but a couple they postponed because the Masters was on.
Yeah, Ridley, the chairman, even mentioned that Saturday when it came on. He thanked the NFL and the SEC conference for changing their schedules.
Nice. I did not know that. Did you know Ridley is the last USAM champion to never turn pro?
Really?
Or the only USAM champion to never turn pro? Other than the current one who's probably going to turn pro in the next couple of weeks. Just a fun fact. I'm going to open a can. What do you got over there?
Nothing.
I'm just laughing at Stat Boy.
No.
He's taking it all.
It's much
in.
different watching them now. I think a good lesson learned on Sunday was Tiger. Something you could teach a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Taking that 10 on 12 and then birdieing 5 of the last 6 holes to get back to red numbers.
Do you want to hit him with a stat? about making a 10 on that hole?
Oh, shit,
I don't know what stat you're talking about, but I could try.
The Bubba Watson stat.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that? The parallels between.
No.
So Bubba won the 2012 Masters. 2013, he made a 10 on hole 12, and then he won the 2014 Masters.
Oh.
So bring on 2021.
Tiger won last
I like
year.
that.
He made a 10 on 12 this year.
Yeah, but what about all the stats you see about this year with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger and all the
Come on.
shit that
It was a
matched
fun
up?
stat boy.
Damn it. You're supposed to embrace it. That's your role.
You should have loved that one. That was a good stat.
It was all right, yeah.
Listen, I have a quick gripe about Jack. Listen, I've all respect the guy. He was a great golfer. He's a legend. We do not need to be reminded by Jack that he's a legend, okay? We don't. Thanks, Jack. We got it. Can you just kind of mingle and hang out with us? Be there, wave, maybe kiss a few babies on the head?
Not anymore.
Did you?
Are they gonna have sandwiches next year at dinner?
DJ
loves the sandwiches.
Ross has a different theory we can talk about off air.
Yeah.
But I was watching. They did a ceremonial tee shot. And they took Jack and Gary back into the press room. They're doing They were just doing an interview with them too. And somebody asked Jack about Rory. Said, "Well, what advice would you give Rory? You could win this week and win the career Grand Slam. He's got the game. Do you have any other advice that could possibly help him?" Dude went on a 4-minute rant about how he was the only one. And then I have this picture of, Gary and I, because we were the only ones, and Snead, and I can't remember else with Hogan. Well, I have this picture. It was a great picture, really nice picture. It's a picture I have on my mantle. I keep that picture around. And it sounded just like that. 4-minute rant, and finally the reporter said, Rory? Oh, yeah. Dude talked about himself for 4 minutes. I'm like, come on, man. No one gives a shit about you anymore. Like, you're getting a little bit on that, like, Johnny Miller side of the dike.
Yes.
Could you knock it off?
I think he's not only a little bit on that side of the dike, he is turned into Johnny Miller 2.0.
Oh, I like it. See, I was just trying to be devil's advocate here.
It's a bold statement, Cotton.
It's true, though.
His playing career is one of the best ever. There is no arguing that. But every interview with him these days, he turns it into about himself rather than answering a question. It's getting annoying, actually.
The only good part is he's not announcing.
Oh, thank God. They do have him in a booth, though, like when in Ohio.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the other person I can't stand.
Oh, if I lose this golf ball, do I have to count it as a lost ball?
So, anyway, I'm going to back up. We'll get to that. Monday through Wednesday, I was pulling what hair I had in my head out, listening to the media just absolutely crown this asshole. We're talking about Bryson, if anybody doesn't catch the hint. Just crown this guy. There's no way. This course is too short. And then the little peckerhead himself even went in the media room and said, well, par here is 67 for me. And I'm like, who is this jackass? 67 for you?
And he played like a 6 handicap this week.
Who would have thought?
I don't know how you made the cut finishing at plus 18.
I know.
I don't get it.
I mean, and then technically DJ shot even par. Right. So I can't stand his arrogance. And I feel like at this point, you can't even argue that it's confidence and he's doing it his way. It's purely an arrogance. Am I too far off base there?
No.
And it's like, I understand if you want to do things your way. I've never had a problem with that. It's the antics we've seen this year that you've pulled. And then you start playing like shit this week. And then we get an interview of, well, I'm just not feeling well. I'm like dizzy or something. Well, maybe it's the 40 protein shakes you're taking. You should probably go to a doctor, because my guess is you probably, your liver and kidneys are all messed up from the amount of protein you're taking.
I don't know. Did you guys see, I think it was Sunday, I don't know, DJ was probably on like 12. They went into the cabin and Van Pelt and Curtis Strange were in there right after Bryson's interview, and he asked Curtis about it, and he goes, yeah, I don't have a comment. Because you could tell he wanted to say something. He's like, it's probably not the time to say anything about it, because
it was just
it wouldn't benefit him. So why?
You're just making an excuse. I didn't play well, so I was feeling
just
dizzy.
Didn't play well,
and maybe he wasn't feeling well. Who knows?
Right.
But when he said it, like, say that like prior. You don't say it like
you're dizzy because your head's spinning trying to think for an excuse. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe you should do some more scientific experiments off side hill and downhill lies, because that's what Augusta is.
There's been a definite change in the pressers. Like the conferences afterwards, you used to hear him talk about what he was doing and kind of get too far into science or act like that. But I'm pretty sure I heard him say verbatim this week that he is changing the game. And usually when someone is changing a culture of any sort, they don't just come out and say, hey, I'm changing everything about this. Like, how smug of a comment can you be putting out there and saying that you're the catalyst yourself?
He is extremely arrogant, and he's very elementary. He's got an attitude of a 12-year-old child who's, fairly decent at golf when they're around their friends. The press conference he had earlier this week where he went around each hole and told the press what he hit in.
Well,
dude, nobody cares.
I can do that too when I just drop a ball in the fairway.
Yeah, you can hit that in too. Sounds great. I'm glad you hit pitching wedge in on 11 on Tuesday.
That's what Indian Hills, I hit pitching wedge in on 4.
Yeah.
I just dropped one up there by the pond.
You know what I mean? The point is like nobody cares about that. And then they would just, the prior coverage of them at the range, and it's just everyone standing around like circle jerking this dude, watching, in his launch monitor. Kid's like a child. He just wants to hit driver on the range. And I said to Russ, do you think, it's a great question for all of you, do you think him just sitting around worried about ball speed, swing speed, distance, and carry distance to the driver, you think that's fed into the rest of his game where he's got zero finesse and touch with his irons? Wedges?
It's definitely not helping.
Can't be.
Yet he remains one of the best putters.
Not this week.
Not this week, but overall.
Well, that's what people forget is he won the U.S. Open not because of how far he hit it.
Yeah, it was purely on the putter stroke.
He putted fantastic that week.
Yet he continued to talk about how far he hit it.
Yeah.
And he didn't even, it's not like he obviously was soft, but he was still only, I don't know what his average was this week, but it couldn't have, some of the furthest ones I saw him hit maybe like 340. It wasn't like crazy numbers that he was putting up.
No.
It's going to be a couple degrees difference on clubs because you got Dustin Johnson who wins it, who's maybe 10 yards behind him average. Bryson might stomp a couple out there 30 yards past him, but most of the time,
driver.
Most of the time he's hitting at 330 and Dustin's hitting at 320. So big whoop.
And I think a good perspective on that is Kyle's boy Fratelli, who started kind of lifting more and went to a 46-inch driver, and he gained like 15 yards.
Bernhard Langer made the cut too, and he hits at 260.
Right.
So you can't really.
I was
going to
bring that up.
He did.
Sorry to
Bryson,
squash
so.
you.
No, he beat Bryson, and I heard a comment earlier last week. They asked him like, what's the longest iron you hit into the greens this week in the par fours? He said iron.
He's probably hitting a driver off the deck into some of them.
He was
right?
hitting fairway woods. He was hitting hybrids. The guy didn't hit irons in these greens. He scored better.
Yeah.
Keep it in the short stuff, and not wet seems to be the key. Because you asked what like the statistic for a 10. I think it's 2 balls in the water, a duffed chip, and a couple putts. Right?
Yeah.
That's a 10.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much. Happens fast.
It's in the bunker, back in the water.
Oof.
So that brings me to my next question. Monday through Wednesday, while they were giving this kid the crown, and he basically the green jacket. We talk about how they need to roll the ball back and the technology, and I was like losing my mind listening to this shit. And they even asked Ridley about changing Augusta basically to, combat Bryson. I guess we have to combat a guy that finished like T31, but the ball argument just pisses me off because it is what it is in my opinion. You still got to put the ball in the hole, which is the most important thing in golf, and we're forgetting about that. And by we, I mean the media and the old heads. And I think it's people like Jack who just they can't stand to watch it, they can't stand to see it, so they want the equipment rolled back, want the ball rolled back. If you roll the ball back, in my opinion, you're only hurting the amateur, and you're only going to hurt growing the game, because the guys like Bryson and Dustin, when you roll the ball back, they're still going to be hitting farther than everybody else.
Yep.
So you're not changing anything. They're still going to have the advantage. So what's the point? And then they want to go to 2 different balls. You want to go to a ball that the pros play, and then we want to go to a ball that the amateurs play. That is the dumbest thing in the world, in my opinion, because of all tournaments, the Masters, who promotes the amateur and Bobby Jones, and so you're going to have kids go play the USAM and play all these amateur events, and then they turn around and they say, well, welcome to the Masters. Thanks for playing. You have to use these golf balls now.
Right.
You've put up this really big wall between amateur golf and professional golf and growing the game. It's my opinion. Please throw your 2 cents in.
I'll just play devil's advocate. I agree with you that they really shouldn't do a lot, but when you look at the rules of golf, you've got really defined rules for clubs. For example, maximum length. Like Bryson, we know, is going to continue to make his driver longer. He's going to go all the way to 48. I don't know if he's already made that change or not. But we've also got the rule of coefficient of restitution. So there can only be so much spring off the club face. But when you look at the rules for balls, there's a max diameter, 1.68 inches. But then there's nothing that says anything about plastic sciences. I mean, that wasn't even a thing when they were making the rules to think about.
Right.
So at some point, maybe we should make the definition of what is legal and not, because we know that every year Titleist puts a new Pro V1 out. And it might not feel different because it's such incremental year over year, but I promise if you play a 2010 Pro V1 and then a 2020, it's going to be different. If you play a 2000, it's not even going to have a solid core. It's going to have like oil and rubber bands or some shit in it. Like at some point you need to make a definition. I'm not saying whether we're at a good or bad spot now, but I think it should be defined.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It makes me wonder if there actually is something that's just not on paper in front of us in the rules of golf, because everything's
in the book
got
of decisions. There might be more elaborate stuff, but I'm not sure.
or not even in that, because it's got to go for approval, right?
Through the RNA and USGA.
Balls,
I don't know
what they're doing to test it.
I'm not sure what they're doing to test it exactly.
And I also know that the other problem is guys like Dustin and some of these guys, they're not playing the same ball that you and I are all buying off the shelf.
Right.
I've seen before. I watched a video one time. Dustin went to TaylorMade's facility, basically hopped on a TrackMan, hooked up all the numbers, and then you have engineers there that are like punching their numbers in. They came up with like 4 different dimple patterns for him to try. That makes a difference. That's like dialing in a shaft and a driver and everything else.
You can do that at Acushnet in Massachusetts. It's $100, and you go hit on launch monitors, and they make a Pro V1 for you, and they'll like give you test balls and everything. Sweet.
It's crazy. I just think that's the problem with the ball is some of them aren't playing the same thing you and I are buying off the shelf at Dick's Sporting Goods or any of our pro shops, and I don't think rolling the ball back is the answer. I think we just got to definitely not change Augusta. I'm just such a traditionalist when it comes to that place. Like, there's things that make that place awesome, and one of them is the golf course. And if someone gets home in 2 on 12, or 13 and 15, who cares?
Yeah.
Why do we got to make it a layup? And I don't know.
And it was interesting this year because I think they said it was new this year. They had that kind of drone overhead on 15 and 16. So some of the views we got from 15 we wouldn't normally get.
Yeah.
So even looking from that fairway, what they're hitting into on 15, even like they showed somebody like one of the pitch shots from like 110 yards, and you're like, that green is not big when you're standing in the fairway.
Right.
It's tiny.
Yeah, I think I did see a picture someone took from the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Like the view down. Like,
yeah, it's not big. So it makes it even more impressive when these guys are, sticking it to 10, 15 feet.
We were just talking about golf balls, and I was scrolling around, and I got an ad for Wilson now sells. I don't even know if they're available yet. Have you tried them? These golf balls that don't have paint on them.
He's got them.
Yeah, no.
Not the
the
paint.
They're a raw finish, so they don't have an
that's-
actual outer coat.
Yeah, I don't think they've released.
Oh,
it.
really?
They say that the paint on a normal golf ball fills the dimples in, and it rounds out the edges. So they're giving it a raw finish to give it the proper sharp edges on the dimple, because the thing I read said at 200 yards with their off-the-shelf balls that they had bought would like go up to 25 feet off target because of the paint. So they've taken the paint out of the equation so they fly straighter and truer. Kind of a Bryson DeChambeau-esque thing, because he floats his golf balls to find their center of gravity.
But you've played the Wilson ball, though, right?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah. Yeah, I did, actually.
I think these ones, right? They just announced these this week.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, earlier this year they brought back their staff ball, which is the equivalent of the Pro V1 or the TB5X line, etc. But yeah, we're in that time of the year where companies are announcing their equipment for next year, and that was one thing Wilson did. Yeah, it's unpainted, raw cover, they're calling it. So the whatever layer is traditionally under the paint is now just slightly bigger, and then they leave it unpainted.
Come buy our harder to find golf ball is what it sounds like to me.
I don't know. I don't agree with rolling the ball back, I don't agree with taking the technology out of the ball, trying to make the ball shorter. It would be interesting if they're, like baseball, Major League Baseball, there's one baseball, right? It'd be interesting to see in golf if there was just, this is a golf ball, and you and I go out on a Saturday morning.
Like one brand.
We're playing the same golf ball that they're playing on tour. If it was still an advanced technology, a modern golf ball, but it's just, this is a golf ball. This is what you have to play
One
with.
company produces the golf ball.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, even if you said, we're going to put Callaway, TaylorMade,
I was going to say, maybe
you can put different names on them, but
You just send a blueprint out for all the companies to
Right,
make for their
exactly.
pro level player. But
Because
then
you
you've done
could
the
have-
same thing and split into pro and amateur already.
I mean, because you could have, a Rawlings or a Wilson baseball that are made to the same specs. You could do that with, if you want to keep marketing, then you would just be choosing a name. But
Right.
So
give
then
the
are you going to do
companies-
that with the clubs next?
We kind of do, right?
Well,
With the COR.
Yeah, I would say the clubs are somewhat along that line already.
I mean, there's limits there for making a golf
But
club.
they're still all different. I mean, there's with a golf ball, you've got different compounds and different compressions for different outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they pass the COR test, and all those clubs at this point, they all have access to the same shafts.
I'm just saying it seems like a slippery slope where we will always end up talking ourselves into the pros and the amateurs having two different things. As
I
much as
think
I
it's
hate to
dumb.
admit it. I do too.
I think it's stupid.
I just think that they should maybe freeze it in time where it is and just say, like,
It
no
did-
more
You
advancements on
put
the
up a
ball.
really big wall between the pros and AMs if you do that. How are AMs supposed to get to the next level if they're now playing two different games?
It seems like an irrelevant conversation until the person that's hitting it 400 yards, you shall not be named, actually starts winning these tournaments that they're so concerned about. When he wins 4 or 5 jackets, okay, maybe we should talk about it. But if he's finishing 18 over par, it's kind of an irrelevant question at that point.
I mean, I've been a big fan of Jamie Sedlowski, the former World Long Drive competitor. He's a good Instagram follower, puts out cool content, and he does a lot of those. Used to do a lot of those events where he'd show up at tournaments and put on, the performance, hitting an old school putter 310 yards, that kind of thing. But just like 2 years ago, he got out of the long drive game and turned pro to start playing competitive golf. I mean, if distance was the only thing that mattered, right, he'd be on tour winning everything because the guy can take a standard. He could probably take Bryson's standard driver and hit it 50 yards past Bryson.
Yeah.
But
And he didn't need to
he's
put
not.
on 50 pounds to do it. The
Right,
guy
that's
weighs about
correct. He's-
165
small.
pounds.
Yeah, he's like Rory's size. So he's a prime example of how distance isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the old adage: it's not how far, it's how many.
yeah, right. You still got to put it in the hole.
Still got to put it in the hole.
As Rory said, how DJ gets around because they played together Thursday, Friday. He said, "C ball, hit ball, C line, putt line."
Hey, he does. He said he had everything on a string, just hitting BBs out there.
Right, and he's probably I think we talked about this probably a month ago. He's probably one of the fastest players on tour.
Yeah.
When he gets down the tee and in the fairway, he gets up there and hits it. He knows what he wants to do and just hits it.
They asked him in a press conference, I think this week, they said, what's your thought process? And he said, I get a number and I see where the wind's going and then I hit it. And I think that everyone should listen to that line and take after that, not the Bryson DeChambeau. Take in 80 equations and walk out your 80-yard shots.
That pressure, the pressure in the air makes a big difference.
What's the humidity?
Apparently, he didn't have it all figured out.
I mean, Tiger didn't even know the wind on Sunday. So
His excuse was that he committed to the wrong way.
he said the wind was the other way for the first two players. Well, maybe he should have played better on 11, then he wouldn't have hit third.
Maybe he shouldn't have hit it with so much spin. He just spun him off the green. I don't know what wind had to do with it.
I think he was just trying to make birdie there because it didn't matter at that point. And you take it on that line on Sunday with the win. I think we've seen it.
It's a shame we're spending so much time on the 10 and not the, 5 out of 6 of the next holes he birdied?
Yeah. He brought it back. I think what was tough for him is he was in it the first couple days, Because when he came back, he played those last 8 holes and then had to go back out. I think those last 10, 11 holes were tough on his back and hip.
Yeah.
His ass was all knotted up.
I think he clearly fucked his back up either Friday or Saturday during playing 27 holes.
Yeah, that's a lot of walking someone with a bad back.
Saving Dustin from falling down a staircase, probably.
The second half of Saturday and then all day Sunday, he clearly was in pain, discomfort.
Yep.
His swing looked okay, but teeing the ball up and getting it out of the hole, it looked like he couldn't bend over, which had to have been affecting some of his shots, especially in my opinion, probably his putting, bending over with the shortest club.
Yeah.
He was clearly in pain.
He needed one of those cups on the end of his putter.
Suction cups. Dude, if he had one of
Tiger
those,
starts using one of those, we'll all petition for him to just retire.
What do you mean? Just stick the toe of your putter in there and jab it out.
Yeah. Not
Augusta
not
will love
frowned
that.
upon at Augusta.
Joey, can you tee that ball up for me?
Speaking of frowned upon at Augusta, I've heard stories in the past where players have said, hey, it is Augusta. You kind of walk around on eggshells there at times just because of where it is and the members and, yeah. And some of you may disagree with this. Russ knows where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going, and I agree with you.
I understand if you want your wife to dress any way she does, Paulina. But as Dustin, when you want to be like, hey, babe, do you want to wear something a little bit different if you're going to come to the golf course today?
What's the yoga pants?
In the
sweatshirt?
In the crop top?
Dude. Well, that sweatshirt looked like my Jamaican bobsled sweatshirt.
This does not seem very empowering to me.
The rumor, though, I agree with you. I think you need to
A little class.
gotta be delicate.
It was a little chilly. She couldn't wear her skirt.
You don't need to be dressed up for a formal, right? But it is. You think of how we dress if we're going to dinner at our club versus the country club, right?
Right.
You're going to make sure you tuck your shirt in at the country club kind of situation.
It's also the biggest day of his life.
Yeah. But the rumor is that outfit was completely put together by Adidas because Adidas sponsors DJ and he wears all Adidas clothing, shoes, everything. That jacket was Adidas that Paulina had on.
So I'd be calling it Adidas.
Yeah.
Could you put together something a little more classier?
I'm trying to think of what other spouses have worn in the past.
I thought Phil's wife was overdressed the one day. I saw her in the background. He was talking to her after he walked off the green. She had like a white, I don't know if it was a sundress or what it was, but she had like boots on, like booties on. I'm like, it's got to be tough to walk around in Augusta wearing those things. And then you had Paulina wearing like tank tops.
I mean, we're not
Are we
complaining.
complaining?
We're not complaining about yoga pants, right? But to me, wearing yoga pants to Augusta on the 18th green when your husband just won, or they're not even actually married, but that's kind of the equivalent of like wearing your pajamas to Walmart, right? Like,
well, that's normal there.
I do that. Though.
No comment.
I know what you're saying. It is. I mean, there's probably better things you could have put on.
yeah.
Show just a little bit of class.
If it was by Adidas, like they could have done a little better job.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Redley called Adidas on Monday morning. Said, listen.
She's there to work, but look at Amanda Balionis doing,
Yeah,
doing the
she wore a
interview on
pantsuit.
18.
Yeah.
She had a pantsuit on. She looked outstanding. But it's Hi, Amanda. You know what I mean? But she looked appropriate for Augusta National.
Appropriate's a great word for it. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes. Well, Augusta in the books, we got 130 some days.
Yeah, less than 6
Should we
months.
do it again?
So you got to think DJ could go from major choker to 2 green jackets in a 5-month stretch.
Yeah.
You got to put him as a favorite right now to win again in April.
He is a favorite right now.
What's the line at?
I don't know. It was 12-1.
Right. Yeah.
I'm really
I'm sure
curious.
that'll lower by the time it gets April.
Yeah, I want to know what it is
because
that first week because he was 8-1
yeah,
going into the.
Yeah, because I wrote a couple. I was listening to a podcast earlier for this week's golf tournament, but Xander right now is 20-1 to win Augusta, and they said that's only going to get lower. So if you want to put money on Xander, try to find it now. But 20-1 for him because I think he ended the week at 14.
So his comment, Kyle's boy Dylan Fratelli, it's because I may or may not have thrown $10 on Fratelli to win the Masters.
What was that? 120-1? at least.
It's like
It had been more than that. 250.
250 to 1.
Your mouth must have been watering, huh?
I was like,
Every time he hit a shot, he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
I sent him a text because I knew he was probably up. I knew you weren't. Figure you're still out coon dogging it. So sent him a text. I go, I got $10 on Fratelli to win the Masters. He goes, no, you don't. So I took a screenshot of my FanDuel.
He held it together well.
Yeah.
He did.
It's a name we're going to hear more.
Yeah, probably gonna miss the cut this week though. So
Imagine a guy in rec specs winning a green jacket.
I went to his Instagram. It's not just golf. He just wears them all the time.
I mean,
He's not that old either.
Looks like he's got
He
some
is-
full contact cooking going on in his
I think
kitchen. He's got him
I
on.
think he's older than you think, though.
He's older than Jordan, but Jordan was in college when he was there. So he's like 3 or 4 years older than
yeah,
Jordan.
he was
I
a
thought he's 35. I
He's-
swear.
he was a senior when Spieth was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Not 35. I think he was 30 or 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, I don't know, but it's.
He's 30.
Yeah, I sent him a text. I'm like, I got $10 in Fratelli to win the Masters. He's like, no, you don't.
He also had $10 on everybody else in the field.
That's
but
not true.
Did you have money on DJ?
He would not bet on
did not.
DeChambeau.
Or Patrick Reed. No, I had like 6 guys. One of them was Fratelli. I just threw it on the dark horse that you never know. And I was close.
Do one more shout out. I'm hoping I'm not stealing anybody's star. Does anybody have a star other than DJ for the Masters?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'll hold it off then.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll add it in at the end if we need to.
I think I actually touched on all my notes without even looking. We hit it all for the Masters.
Me
Can
too.
we talk about the lost ball thing?
And you wrote,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I want to hear what you guys have to think about it. All I saw was I didn't see it happen. I saw a quote from like a PGA memes.
We were
thing.
sitting here watching it.
They found it.
Did they end up finding?
Yeah,
What a statement, though,
he was,
right?
he was putting out on
he was
3.
putting out, and one of the volunteers found it.
One of the volunteers even said we weren't even looking in the right spot. But he's too arrogant. He's like, no, I was up here. And like Russ is in the recliner. He's like, he's probably going, oh, no, the thing's been high.
Yeah, so if anyone listening didn't watch, so that was, I don't even remember what hole number that was. Three. The short par 4 that he said he could drive. Yeah, he pulled it into the left rough. The rough there was thick and wet. So I'm sure the thing just plugged.
Yeah, because I think Tiger made a comment on Saturday. He's like, that second cut, I don't know if that's a second cut. He said it was extra long.
So they, on TV, they showed the replay a few times, showed approximately where the ball was, which without patrons, it's a little bit harder to tell exactly, within a 5-foot chunk of where you are. He was out there with a crew of, like 10 volunteers looking for the ball.
No one was really looking. Have you ever been in a match and you're like up one
God,
and you're
yeah.
like, I'm going to walk around out of courtesy, but I'm not really looking that hard.
we have all been there, yes. And I mean, by the rules of golf, you have 3 minutes to look for your ball when you get up there, and
That's the new number.
yeah,
So I made a smart comment to these guys. I said, how long before we hear Bryson ask for a high school rolling? In high school, you're like, well, if you guys can all agree that it was in a spot, you just drop it. And it was like 30 seconds later. So if, even if we agreed it was here and it plugged and there's ground under repair, I can't do anything. The guy's like, no. Which my question is, where's their ground under repair at
At
Augusta?
there was not ground under repair. Yeah,
And
It had rained. Maybe that was
not
his
that I
thought
like him,
process.
but if there are patrons there, that ball's not lost.
Right.
Someone sees
Someone's
it
gonna
if
see
there's
it.
patrons there.
yes.
And I said to you guys even on Friday, they mentioned, I don't know who was announcing at the time, but they said it was very wet down in there. And that's a par 4 that a lot of people are trying to drive it as far up as they can. Why was there not more than 2 people standing in that area if they knew it was that soft there? But didn't bother me.
I just find it funny. It adds to the legacy of dumb rulings. I mean, we all play with people that know the rules well. We all take rulings that are going to sometimes benefit us, but we're within our rules. I've never played in a match where someone asks me about ants or asks me if I lost it, can I just drop one? Anything like that. It's just...
You got to watch out for them fire ants in Augusta.
No, it does suck. Like, it was probably wet and it plugged, but I'm pretty sure whoever found it said they
They
weren't
said
even,
it was about 10 to 15 feet behind where they were looking.
yeah, it was back further.
And then he hit his provisional, probably directly left of it, but bounce, so it was obviously easier to see.
It didn't break my heart.
That's an ego thing because I always look way too far back and end up going, oh, how did I hit it up there?
Yeah. It's karma, man. When you tell Augusta National that par is only 67, Augusta National's going to win.
Every time.
Every time. All right, we'll move on to the Masters until we do it again in April. Football this week and NBA draft on right now. Which one do you guys want to tackle first?
We're not big NBA fans, so we can go through that quickly. Although,
Yeah.
if you give me the NBA offseason all the time, there's nonstop.
There
The past
is.
like 5 days have been nonstop, and it's like that every year. There's guys constantly moving around.
I do have a gripe, though.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I got a few.
Go ahead, gripe away.
The NBA offseason, while, yes, exciting and action-packed, is a bit of a three-ring circus.
Just 3?
There it is.
You've got these guys that, James Harden, who's under contract with Houston, and not only do you, in most sports, guys will request a trade. Hey, I'm not happy here. I'm requesting a trade. In the NBA, you got Harden, who's, hey, I want to go to the Nets because Durant told me it's real fun there. Trade me for these 5 assets. Like, these guys orchestrate their own deals.
Yep.
We've seen it the last number of off seasons. I think the NBA is getting to a point where the draft's on right now, as you mentioned. You might as well have everybody be on a 1-year contract and redraft the whole friggin' league every offseason.
That's a great idea.
In Harden's defense, he did decline his option, so he is a free agent technically in a couple days. But
Oh, okay. So why is he worried about a trade then?
I don't know.
Because he specifically
Yeah,
said he wanted.
So I saw he declined his option. So I don't. That's what I don't get. Is like why? What's it matter if you decline your option? You become a free agent. I don't know if it's easier because then the Nets can get rid of money in the process. If not, they've got to figure out other ways to get rid of money.
So is this option
I don't know
for
if that's
this
the-
year, or do they?
It sounded like it was this year because a lot of guys, I think they had to decide by like tomorrow at 5:00 or whatever, all the options.
I mean, to Russ's point, I mean, we literally at the point right now where I feel like we might as well just have 8 NBA teams.
Yeah.
Because they're all just making their own.
Yep.
Right.
Let's just do an 8-team tournament, a couple times a year.
Is anybody going to, obviously, how many people harassed Durant for Golden State?
So that's where I was going to go with this.
Yeah. LeBron, if you're going to harass Harden if he ends up going to the, now that there's talk about him going to Celtics and whatever, but still, either way, is he, do you think it's, and I just thought about this, do you think he's trying to get out of the West because he's like, there's no chance of me getting out of here? With obviously the Lakers still being good.
The Western
Golden State's-
Conference?
Yeah.
You ever
Golden
heard of the
State's
Western
coming back.
Conference?
Oh, my God.
It's one of the best conferences.
Before you got here on this draft analysis, Jay Billis said, I don't even know who they were talking about. Maybe it was a kid that went first overall. He's going to be in a tough conference. The Western Conference is one of the best conferences. I'm like,
Well, there's only 2.
there's only 2 conferences. What is he talking about? It's one of the best conferences to go play.
No shit. One of them's got to be the best.
But yeah, I think I don't have a favorite team in the NBA. I'm a very casual viewer. I do like watching Steph Curry. He's probably one of the players I'm drawn to the most just to watch. And as you just mentioned, that's been one of the biggest, gripes over the last 5 years was that Durant left OKC to go out there and form this super team. Well, now that's what everybody does.
Right.
I mean, that's
Dude,
what the Lakers did.
They've harassed LeBron for 10 years,
Like you said,
ever since he went to Miami.
Well, it's because he stood on stage and said, not
Wow.
one, not 2.
But to me, that's a little different, I guess. But it's the same thing, right? Is Harden being like, nope, I don't want to be here. I want to go here. Like, it's very similar. Obviously, he didn't get on stage and do a show about it. But
Houston is
it's
going
a
to suck
very-
next year.
they're
Westbrook wants out.
Westbrook, they're talking about him going to Washington.
And they traded away their
Like,
first-round pick tonight.
Yeah, it's
They have no picks in the first round.
they're going to be bad. And obviously, they don't have a coach. They're a mess.
Maybe the G League will take them.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of trades, though, so.
It is exciting, but we might as well just have 8 teams at this point because that's what it seems like it is.
It's just players orchestrating super teams that take up a third of the league. They're 2/3 of the leagues. 2/3 of the league is
Right, yeah.
irrelevant.
Every year
Like
you
the-
can say,
Like the Washington Generals.
every year you can say, hey, give me these 5 teams. One of them's going to win the NBA
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
And as a casual viewer, admittedly, when you get down to the conference finals or whatever in the playoffs, it is exciting to watch. But yeah, the rest of the season is practically irrelevant.
yeah. So they are doing. I did see they released the first half of the schedule today through March 5th or whatever when the All-Star
Starting
break
like
is,
December, right?
and then halfway through the year or halfway through that
Christmas.
season, they're going to start. They're going to announce the second half of the season, but a lot of that's based on if their games gets canceled for COVID, can they fit games in? But they are going to do that like mini play-in tournament to get in the playoffs again. So it's bringing it. To be honest, Adam Silver of the 4 major sports, Adam Silver is probably the best.
He's one of the best.
commissioner.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
He's definitely making it. Doing a mini play-in tournament to get to the playoffs is kind of neat, something different.
No, I like it. I do. I just can't get an NBA because I don't like the style of basketball.
Yeah, I don't.
I think I'm on your page. I'd rather watch college basketball, which
100%.
we can touch on that real quick.
7 days.
It does start, but then the big announcement was, and it was kind of expected because they coined or they trademarked the whole battle in the bubble a while ago. So I think that was like in my opinion, one of the biggest sporting events we all missed out on this year was the NCAA tournament. Whether you like college basketball or not, March Madness is fun to watch. Sit around, you got 8 games on at a time. You can maybe throw $10 on a team that's down by 5 going to the fourth quarter, right, Russ?
Why not?
Okay.
Second half.
So, yeah, second half. So the tournament is going to happen, it sounds like, in Indianapolis.
Yes.
They're going to have the NCAA tournament, all the teams in Indianapolis in a bubble. They're going to be, I think, at Lucas Oil Field, and
Yeah, I don't know where all the. I don't know if they've announced all the.
they have a
arenas
convention
or-
center out there. McAfee was
Yeah.
talking about they can set up courts.
The March Madness tournament.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
The entire. So Indianapolis was due to host the Final Four, so I think that's why they said, we're just leaving it in Indianapolis. They were due to host the Final Four, so we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
How many? This would be chaos, but what the hell? COVID, screw it. How many basketball courts could you fit 4 basketball courts on a football field? And say, hell, let's just go to town here.
Probably 2.
On a
45 by
hold on.
90, right?
Think about it, though. On a football field, you go to Syracuse, right? They have one that's on that far end.
Yeah.
I bet you could fit 4.
I bet, yeah,
because you don't have to put stands
I would
in.
think it's at least 4.
You don't have to put stands in. Syracuse, you got so much of that. And there's
Yeah, but do you
chunk-
want? I don't know if that gets too chaotic with like whistles blowing like all over the place.
Oh, it's going to look like an AAU tournament out there. But
right. So, I've comfortably you can at least fit 2 in there for sure, without a doubt. And then obviously for the Final Four, you can say, all right, let's flip the court around and put it in the center of the stadium. Yeah, like you said, if they got convention center, do they go? And obviously they're doing in the bubble, but do they go to Indiana University and play games there?
So they talk about there's
Notre Dame,
IUIP or whatever the hell it is.
IUPUI. I think they're technically the host of the Final Four.
Are they? Okay, so they said there's obviously their facility. You have Lucas Oil Field. There is a convention center out there that can hold probably quite a few courts. But to your point, like the whistles and stuff, there's got to be a way they got to put either like barriers up or something
Right.
in between these courts to kind of, especially if you're filming it.
And I assume, I don't know if they will, but will they allow like parents? We saw obviously with the Masters, I think you said they allowed 2 people to come with each player. We've seen a lot of college football. College football's had fans, but
Yeah.
a lot of stadiums said, hey, you can invite your parents. They're allowed. So it'd be interesting. Obviously, the tournament's a big moment for those kids, and that's what they dream about going. Especially those small schools. I want to get to the tournament. That's what you want to do. So
I think we're opening up a door to something that I am totally in agreement with. Every year we have the locations for all these people. They send them out for the bracket. Why don't we just pick a city every year that hosts the tournament? Why not?
if it goes smoothly this year, I'm guessing it could become
Yeah.
this consideration.
A city like Columbus could hold it.
I don't want it to next year because I think it's in Buffalo, but
Is it? I mean, Columbus
2
could.
rounds, but-
Convention Center, and then the arena is a block and a half from each other.
yeah.
And all the
Yeah, you got
hotels are
Ohio
sitting
State there.
Yeah.
So
Ohio State's on the other side of town, but yeah, you could have games over
you
there.
could have games there. So
I say the the NCAA makes so much money they should just get an island like the UFC.
Now he's thinking.
Battle on the
You
island.
can put all the courts you want on that island.
Just outdoor games.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you need?
Metal
16
metal
courts?
metal backboards and no nets.
Chain.
Call your own fouls.
Let's have the finals at Rucker Park. Yeah, I'm pumped for that, though, because I missed out on it last year. All right, let's move on to football. We are going into week 11. I don't want to talk about the Bills.
Painful.
That was heartbreaking and just unbelievable.
You have to admit you felt every emotion in that game. It
I
gave you
did.
If you had paid for that, you got every penny.
Here's what pisses me off about it, is the Bills lose on a Hail Mary, and then Monday morning, the experts are like, oh, the Bills just aren't legit. It's like, oh, but the Cardinals are because they won on a Hail Mary? Really? That's where we're going with that? Okay.
I listened in my car the entirety of the game. There was
That
2
must have
seconds
been
left.
miserable.
No, I like it. I actually really like it. I get out of my car because there's 2 seconds left. I'm like, nice, what a good win. And I go inside, open up my phone, and I see 4 dudes in the air, and only one of them is a Cardinal.
They couldn't have defended that any better.
They could have.
Well,
They could have, with Poyer not hitting Trey White.
yeah,
Poyer came over and hit Trey White.
yeah.
And
But
that hurt
when you got
them.
a guy that wears 6X gloves,
So
it's crazy.
here's my question. Field goal doesn't do them any good there, so it's not like they can
Yeah.
advance the ball, spike it, or whatever. I don't even know if they had a timeout. That ball's going to the end zone. Why are we in a normal has to? That's the only way you win the game.
Well, I think I was surprised that it actually went to the end zone on that play because they could have gotten another 10 or 15 yards and got a 35-yard pass play instead of 50.
I don't know.
Because still when they scored, right, there was still 2 seconds. I think
did
there was
they have
11
any timeouts?
They didn't, but you could have went to the. So who cares if you go to the sideline and you throw an incomplete pass? You still,
Right.
you still run the same play. So I was, and obviously they weren't. I was surprised looking. If you look at that play again, I was very surprised. Now obviously you got DeAndre Hopkins going down there, but he was the only one in the end zone. There was no one else in the end zone.
Okay, let's say they run 2 plays. One of those 2 plays has got to go to the end zone,
Right.
probably. So, first of all, on that play, why are we set up in a normal, like, cover 2, cover 3? I would have, like, my linebackers a little deeper than normal. I'd have my safeties deeper. And they didn't. I mean, everyone, Tre'Davious White and Poyer both were retreating back to the ball. They shouldn't have been. And even if you don't put those guys in, what if you take some of your linebackers out and you do what Patriots did the one year? They threw, like, Gronk in the end zone. Throw a tight end or a taller wide receiver out there to break up that play.
Didn't Hopkins come from the other side of the field though? I think he came on a post route from the other side of the field. He wasn't even like Trey. So I think that's why like Trey was backpedaling because it wasn't his guy.
That's the only place you should be looking is a guy going in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they lost.
I would have put somebody taller in the end zone to break up a Hail Mary that was probably coming.
My problem with that entire game was the Bills played like garbage in the third quarter.
As always.
Like all year.
Yeah, played like garbage in that third. If they don't play like garbage, they're fine.
Yep.
And this was another game. It seems like every 3 or 4 games, Josh Allen looks like he was slapped by the coach and told, do not run the ball.
Yeah.
He'll have like 2 or 3 games where he runs the ball outstanding, and then all of a sudden there's a game where it's like he's afraid to go across the line of scrimmage.
That opens up the offense for him, knowing that he's willing to take off and run.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where they've lost their games this year is he doesn't run. They're like, all right, we're going to make you throw the ball then. They drop back, and the Bills can't run the ball this year. Right. It's getting better. I like that Moss kid.
Yeah, he's been. Yeah, but I mean, last 2 games? I don't know what the numbers are, but
They're still not
if you
running a lot.
take Allen's runs out of it, I think they've only ran the ball like 20 times.
Yeah, they don't run a lot.
They ran it like 15 times 2 weeks ago, but like 7 of those were Allen. So
Well, the whole Seattle thing, that was like, I think that was planned because the defensive backs and stuff. The NFL is shaping up to be interesting. I can tell you just from like trying to like do the analysis on like placing bets and doing that blog and putting those picks out. I mean, Seattle was a 2-point underdog this past week to the Rams. Now, I get you have to play the game, but the Rams haven't been that great this year.
No.
And then you walk around, we're trying to give Russell Wilson the MVP in week 7. And then they go out and they get smoked. They only scored 16 points. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
Right, and Ramsey shut Metcalf down.
Yeah.
I mean, that was all that was to that game. was Ramsey shutting back.
And we
down.
know they have capable receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lockett on the other side of the field.
I mean, that Rams defense is good. We do know that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, not putting up points. I mean, Bills put up, 42 points or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So.
What are you chuckling on over there?
Russ is pumped about this NBA
The
draft.
third best available player at the moment. His first name is Precious.
Oh, yeah.
His parents wanted a girl.
My God. Anyways,
Yeah, I mean, something the last couple of weeks, even the DK slate last week, like you just
Yeah.
some of those games.
No points really got put up last week, so.
It's just, I don't know. It's a tough week trying to like bet games too. Just some of the games, like I don't even have anything written down here.
One team I want to talk about, because we talked about it on the DFS units
a couple weeks
the
ago.
day before your baby was born,
Yeah.
was the Dolphins. And we said this next 4-game stretch,
Yep.
it'll be a win if they go 2-2. Well, they're 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
And Tua is not playing well. They're winning. He's 3-0. But their defense, I think, has 6 touchdowns in that 3-game stretch.
Yeah, the defense definitely won the first game. He played
Right,
better
and-
the second game.
Yeah, even this week, their first touchdown, they blocked a punt, and they had a 1-yard drive to score.
Yeah, kind of like
that was.
like the first
was
week
it.
he was out there. Like, yeah.
So, I mean,
Do they have the Chargers this week, right?
yeah, no. Was that this? They did. Yeah, they played the Chargers this past week. I think they have the. I don't.
Yeah, they played him this past week. Who do the
I think they
Dolphins
have
play?
the Broncos, maybe.
Yes, I think you
think
might
it's
be right.
Broncos.
It's the Broncos. Which
So they
gonna-
should beat them.
right, but I think the Broncos. Yeah, Drew Lock's not playing.
Right.
They're pretty sure
Yeah.
he's not playing.
Yeah. So they're more than likely them and the Bills will be tied for the AFC
Yeah.
East after this week.
And Brady may have received a gift with Drew Brees getting hurt in that conference.
What do you mean? Jameis? Famous Jameis, baby.
Yeah, famous for his 30 interceptions in a season.
Hey.
that guy's a donkey.
Have you ever seen the video of him doing the heel dance? Like,
That stupid chicken wing W thing he does. That's the dumbest
I was just about
thing
to do
ever.
that for you.
That's the dumb.
Oh God.
That's so stupid.
it's better than crab legs, right?
What an idiot. Both of you.
Gotta eat that W. Eat that
Yeah.
W.
That is so stupid. So stupid.
And the fact that I had to hear that
Eat
through the
that
mic.
W.
Sorry to anyone that's driving and has to hear
Oh
that.
my God.
Why don't you bring a bowl of macaroni next week?
Guess those fingers didn't taste good, huh? Holy shit. Oh my
Just yakking on a bone.
Oh boy.
You know, I don't want to like toot my horn or anything because who knows how the season's going to play
But
out.
you're gonna?
Yeah. But,
No, because
but go ahead and do it.
I don't want to stake my flag on anything yet. But I recall in the early weeks saying Big Ben looks really good. I like the way he's playing. Things are shaping up well. I know that they just played the Bengals, but
Listen,
still.
he looked good this past
no one's
week.
telling that guy no.
Until 4 weeks from now when the Bills stop him.
Listen, he. He's cracking himself up now. He looked good last week, but the week before that he did not.
He doesn't look great.
Yeah. Dude, they almost lost to the Cowboys.
Should he do the W thing next?
Maybe he should.
Oh,
I was going to make another joke, but I'll leave it alone.
Don't stick your fingers in your mouth. You look like you've been fingering a homeless man.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
I love it.
I have a laugh like that. Tells a little girl. All right, you guys want to get into 3 stars or anything else?
Oh, I want to talk about not the big deal, but Robinson Cano being suspended for the entire 2021
surprised.
season.
He gone. He gone.
Right, he got suspended already once, so
So for a long time, I was pissed off the Yankees let him go. And then it was like a year later, I heard grumblings and read stuff that they had suspicions, so they didn't want him.
yeah.
That's why he kind of went packing.
Now, I think this Cano being out, I think really hurts the Yankees because I think the Mets make a big push for LeMahieu now.
Oh, for
I think he was
LeMahieu.
already on their radar.
Yeah.
But I think that now with Cano being out, it's even
I was trying to think, like, how's it hurt the Yankees in the
I think it's
National League?
a bigger push
Yeah.
now.
So,
It doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, I hate the Yankees, but their history of throwing money around and free agents and everything. Why would they not re-sign LeMahieu?
Oh, right.
I mean, I guess this is probably minority decision or opinion here, but I would rather sign LeMahieu than Judge to long term deal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Player-wise, yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, most Yankees fans would probably not agree with that. I think Judge is like
Judge on a marketing side is probably better.
right.
Yes.
Yes, marketing, yes. But player wise, I'm taking LeMahieu all day.
He's a better player.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's got 2 batting titles now.
Yeah.
He's one of the best pure hitters.
I've said it 100 times. Judge's success depends on who's around him in the lineup.
Yeah.
Because if you can just pitch around a guy, I mean, he's so big. He's so big that he's got a toothpick in his hand out there, and you throw anything at him slightly over the plate, he can hit it anywhere.
Right.
Because he's just that strong, and so you have that guy in your lineup. If you got 4 guys around him in that lineup that suck, let's pitch around Judge, put him on base, and force some of those other guys to produce. That's why they don't have success when Stanton's playing in AAA most of the season.
Yeah. I think NBA offseason or MLB offseason could be. There's a lot of big names out there this year. So problem with I think it's most major sports, but a lot of players wait. Oh, I'm going to wait till this player signs so I can see what they got.
Yep.
Which I think hurts. It's definitely different in hockey because
Machado did that,
the first day of hockey, it's like boom, everybody's signing.
It's chaos. Yeah.
But the other 3 major sports, it's let me see what this guy got. That way I can see. So they always wait for that first guy to
Harper Machado
take that deal. Yeah.
And I would say that most of that's because the NHL has a very hard salary cap, where baseball doesn't.
Yep.
So
right.
And the Yankees said they're cutting salary again this year. So if they truly do that, who knows? But
there's an easy cut. You get rid of Ellsbury. Gone.
Can't. They got to sign 1 more year, right? Or 2 more.
I don't know. I have to look it up, but he's like
there's still a little pizza in that box.
He's got like 25.
Oh, check the Ellsbury thing.
Jacob B. Ellsbury.
Yeah. So he's got his contract.
I think it's 2022.
Haven't we done this before?
I mean, he's like $25 million a year.
We're not very bright.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Terrible signing. All right. You guys want to get in 3 stars? Do you have a dud?
It's through 2021.
So 1 more year.
Do I have a dud?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already talked about him a lot. Yeah.
All right, let's get into 3 stars. Do you have a star?
I do.
All right. So how about this? How about you start with your star?
Sure, I'd love to. And it's kind of a painful one because as I wrote it down, things looked so good. It looked so promising. And Tyler Bass is my star. Watching him kick, the first one was 52 yards, then the next one was 54 yards, then the next one was 59 yards.
2 minutes ago, you told us you listened. Now you watched it?
What, if I listened, I can't know the stats?
You said as you watched him kick.
Oh, well, as I listened to it careen through the uprights and strike one of the uprights.
Oh, he did hit the upright, yeah.
Yeah. He's the first Bills player to do, I think they said in the NFL, actually, in 1 quarter to do 3 kicks over 50 yards.
Oh. Probably. It's probably definitely not been done a lot.
I mean, just the fact that you could pull that off, that's clutch.
He's got like 15 field goals the last like 3 weeks. It feels like
He's picked it up the last few weeks.
Yeah, we
5 games in the season, I was ready to go try out for kicker for the Bills.
4 games in the season, I was packing his bags for him.
Yeah.
Not his, Bass's.
But he put it on his back when he needed to. They didn't shape out the way they wanted it to, but I was impressed with his moxie for sure.
Moxie. Love it.
Squeeze my fat ass in some football pants. I can miss a 40-yarder too.
For $1 million.
You'll never look worse than that Penn State kicker from a couple of years ago.
I don't remember that. But.
Only Adam would.
I hate Penn State.
Let it fly.
Me?
Oh, timeout. We got a draft trade in a 3-ring circus of the NBA. Ricky Rubio. Thunder will trade Ricky Rubio and a number 25 and 28 over pick to the Timberwolves.
I hope he didn't fucking pack his bags yesterday when he got traded.
Danny Green got traded again today, too.
I know.
Bought a house already.
All right, back to stars. Yeah. Important shit.
My 3rd star, Kalen Chaos Williams. He's a welterweight UFC fighter who was on the card last Saturday. He had the 1-punch knockout win over Abdul Razik Al Hassan. That was round 1, 30 seconds in. The 2 of those guys traded leg kicks, and then Chaos Williams decided to throw a short right jab, and the guy was asleep before he hit the mat.
So I had 3 stars, but now I have 4 because you're the 4th one for pronouncing the other guy's name.
Hey, name pronunciation I can do.
Well, that was good.
Wait till we get into hockey
Can you
season.
say it again?
Yeah, Abdul Razik Al Hassan.
All right.
What else you got? You got a test for me? I'll pronounce names all night.
Seasoned vet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be the PA announcer for the Buffalo Sabres public address.
You want to try
I'd be
out?
good at
Right?
that
You want
job.
to try out right now?
So if anyone in the Sabres organization is listening, let me know.
Oh, maybe next week we could get a play for you, and you can call the play.
Wait,
So
PA
you can
announcer.
try out.
Isn't the PA like?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to be the PA announcer?
Public
sorry.
address, not play by play.
Not play-by-play.
Well, maybe we'll get a goal for you, and then you can announce it over the speaker. We'll try out for you. We'll put that together.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea.
Shut up, Chuck.
All right, what do you got over there?
Third star, not of the week, of the first 10 weeks of the season, Stephon Diggs. 73 catches, 906 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Most targeted wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Did a little Twitter searching over the past couple of days.
Got to be accurate.
When the Vikings made the trade, there was a lot of harassment that no one would throw Diggs the ball in Buffalo. Pro Football Focus projections for this year for Diggs: 69 catches, 840 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Well, he's surpassed 2 of those already, and he's still got 6 games to go.
Yep.
And there was a lot of that. There's no chance he gets 800 yards this year. He's almost at 1,000. He is leading the league right now.
Targets, isn't he, and catches?
Targets, catches, and yards. Obviously, he's a game ahead of some people, so
I think
Hopkins
Josh
might
Allen-
take him over.
Josh Allen leading the league in passing.
Allen leads the league in passing right now. He's got an extra game on him, but either way, Allen's getting Diggs the ball.
Yep.
So
Does he lead the league in touchdowns caught by quarterbacks?
That's I don't know.
He's
there's
got
a good chance. If not, he's tied.
He's got it.
How about that juke move, though?
Sounded good on the radio.
My third star of the week is Matt Wolf, and not because he played golf. Matt Wolf signed with Gatorade this week, and Matt Wolf is only the second golfer ever to sign with Gatorade, and the other one being Tiger Woods. So congratulations to Matt Wolf on signing with Gatorade. That's kind of a big deal. He's going to be good for the game of golf.
Yes.
Good for marketing aspects.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like Matt Wolf.
Yeah, it shocked me that he was only the second person to sign with Gatorade, but then the more I thought about it, I'm like, Gatorade's not really big in golf. You don't see guys like taking their Gatorade bottle out and drinking it. So
I hope we see some killer Gatorade golf bags for him.
You're going to buy them? Oh, yeah. You want to get one?
I don't know. We'll see. See what they look like.
you never know.
That'd be sweet. Oh, I'm up.
You're up.
Second star, we've already mentioned, Bernhard Longer. Oldest player to ever make the cut at the Masters. He was, I believe, 3 under for the week, tied for 29th overall. 63 years old, making the cut at the Masters. Pretty impressive week for him.
He'll probably break his record next year.
Right.
That's got to pay almost as much as winning on one of those Champions events, right? Don't they only make like $250,000 for a win on one of those?
I make pretty good money out there.
Yeah, half $500,000, I think, somewhere in there.
I don't know. He didn't make that much.
No, T29 he probably made.
Probably made
150
50.
to 200, right? Somewhere.
No.
No,
Probably made like 35. I think it's
Yeah.
what Bryson
Really?
was right around there. Bryson made
think
like 39 or
I
something
think
like
I
that.
saw they had to be in the top 20 to make 100.
They should have penalized Bryson $39,001.
Everybody makes the cut. Everyone who misses the cut still gets 10 grand though.
Oh, really? Like Jeopardy? Like still get a prize.
You still get Advil.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Alex.
Rip. Everybody we got over there.
Second star, going back to North Carolina football, Sam Howell, 32 of 45, 550 yards, 6 passing touchdowns, 1 pick, and a rushing touchdown. And they beat Wake Forest 59-53.
No, nail biter.
It's close.
Sheesh.
So I did see some guy made a bet. I think the over-under was like 75. He put a bet to win. He won like $100 for every point over like 82 points.
Really?
And it capped at like 4,200, and he got it all.
Oh, it's a lightning bet.
Yeah, it was
But if it goes under the line,
Right.
you pay for
Yeah.
every number under the same amount.
correct.
Artie Lang
And
talked
so,
about him on
yeah, there
Howard
was-
Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he won the max bet, like $4,200.
Oof.
Nice.
Scary.
All right. So my second star of the week is Andy Ogletree, the low am at the Masters this week.
Yep.
Very impressive. He finished, not only just make the cut, he finished at 2 under. I believe tied. I don't know what he finished, but either way, the story earlier.
I think he's 2.
2 under, yeah. Story of the week going into this week was they did a short story on him. He wrote a letter in like 3rd grade how he wanted to someday play golf with Tiger Woods. And he told a story this week that he was on the putting green Thursday, like nervous, probably like shitting his pants. And he said Tiger walked up to him and was like, "Hey, you ready to go do this, bud?" Like, "Hey, want to go play golf?"
Showed he was nervous the first 2 holes.
He said the first like 4 holes he was pretty nervous.
Double and then bogey right after.
But either way, that's my second star is Andy Ogletree. Probably turning pro in the next, I'd say, couple weeks.
Keeping with the Masters theme, I didn't put DJ because we already gave him a bunch of credit. So my first star I'm going to give to Cameron Smith. He was tied for second at the Masters at 15 under, and the first player in Masters history to shoot all 4 rounds in the 60s.
It's also my first star, so
That's
See, that was gonna be. I'm glad I didn't say it earlier.
I can't believe that hasn't been done before.
When you think about that, it's crazy that
Yeah.
Even shooting 3 under,
Yeah.
like, it's very odd.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you would have told him on Monday, "Hey, you're gonna shoot 4 rounds in the 60s,
And
you're
not
gonna finish
win?
15 under."
Yeah.
Oh wait, and you lost by 5 shots.
wait, they said he idolized Adam Scott growing up. He shot a lower score than Adam Scott did to win
Yeah.
and didn't win.
Nope.
Stat for you over there, stat boy.
I like it.
You're welcome.
My first star goes to a player on Russ's alma mater, UB Bulls. Jarrett Patterson last night, 31 carries, 301 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Maybe Bowling Green, but
Bowling Green's terrible. I bet against him a couple weeks ago.
but 301 yards on the ground is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he had like 65 yards on the first drive of the game in like
Jeez.
2 minutes. It's a hell of a game.
I don't want to do that. I'll stick to kicking.
All right, it's time for a dud.
All right, I'll keep my dud, but I'll make it a little different because I think it needed to be specified anyway. Originally, I just wanted to talk about how disgusted and just over Bryson DeChambeau I am, but I don't think all of the responsibility is on him. I think most of the responsibility goes to the Golf Channel themselves. When we're talking about the Masters coming up, I want to learn about the field. I want to learn about all the amateurs that are playing, and I want to learn about all the first timers. I don't want 60% of the airwaves to be Bryson DeChambeau. I remember the same thing happening 5 or 6 years ago when Tiger was not even playing. And now we had a wonderful couple grace years where Tiger was playing but not ultra relevant. And then here comes Bryson DeChambeau, and now all we can hear about is him. I'm just ready to hop off that train for a bit. I don't wish negatively against him. I just wish that the
Stop crowning him until he does it.
I agree.
get off the high horse.
I think that's a good dud, and I agree with you 100% because even though I think we're collectively against him, we've spent like 10 episodes bitching about him for a combined
But the
5
thing for
hours.
me is he can
I'm
redeem
okay
himself.
with us not mentioning him again until like he wins again or maybe like next year's Masters analysis.
I think he is fresh enough and young enough he can redeem himself and still be a fan favorite. He just has to change the approach he's making.
It's his attitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Because if he had a good attitude, I would be all for him being the change in the game. But it's just really tough to stand behind him.
And he, I think the other thing, us getting tired of listening to it and the media shoving it down our throat like they did last week, I think other players too. I mean, I didn't watch a single press conference where a player went in and didn't get asked about him.
Yeah.
If there's a pay-per-view I want to see, it's him against Brooks.
Yeah.
That's what they should have next year after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, rough and rowdy.
I know he and Brooks have had this, back and forth. They clearly don't like each other, but I can't wait till one of the real veterans like a Tiger or Phil or somebody is asked a question about him and they speak up and say, look, I'm sick of talking about this. He can do things his own way. Don't ask me about him.
Right.
Phil might not have played that great, but I stand behind what I said. My statement about game improvement irons.
Yeah, were you taking a shot at us?
I was taking a shot at myself, too. I play pro combos that I shouldn't probably be hitting either.
All right, gentlemen. I think that's it for 38. Until next time. In-house again, hopefully next week.